Why buying a dog with hat if I can buy a dog with mask?
Yes, of course.
This
And I
is
don't
free
even
world.
judge.
This is
I
free
don't
world.
even judge. It's like some people like scratch offs and some people like the casino. I like stock market vibes, but all good wherever you fit in and what you like.
I'm buying sometimes meme coins to be fair, especially when I'm bored and I have nothing to do. But I'm also lazy. Like those meme coins, you need to be also selling pretty fast because some of the meme coins like exist for a day.
It's not my scene. I've never like enjoyed the trading side of things. I like startups, Y Combinator, kind of startup science, token engineering, like this type of economics. Like that's the stuff I like. I would never go to the casino, never got a scratch off. I won't, even if someone gave it to me, because it's a good way to start a bad habit.
How do you think like DAOs actually change? Like, basically dropping of the tokens from the protocol to different wallets.
If there were no laws involved, this entire thing would look totally different. But because of the securities laws and registration and needing to do all this, SEC and like America's kind of the leader in this regulation and stuff, and so everyone follows suit. The days of just raising money and selling a token, like those kind of the ICO style initial coin offering, they've fallen out of favor for 6 years or something, just because it's like, how do you do that legally?
Welcome to the Greenpill Network podcast. If you're just joining us, we're building a coordination, a network society of thousands of hackers, dreamers, and doers using crypto to bring positive sum digital systems to the world. This podcast features the people who are doing it, and we publish a season of 5 to 10 episodes every couple months. This season is about how to DAO. I am releasing a book with my co-author, Punkar, who is also a DAO native person, and we are really excited about helping people find prosperity and to help them thrive in the frontier. For time immemorial, people have gone to the frontier in order to find new prosperity, new opportunities, and our generation's frontier is the internet. We want to teach people about the future of DAOs, the future of internet coordination, and this season of How to DAO is all about how do we do that? How do we DAO? How do we find more prosperity in the internet frontier? And this guest season of 5 to 10 episodes is going to be about how to DAO. The next voices that you'll hear will be myself or my guest co-host Punkar talking about how to DAO. Hope you enjoy this season. See you. Peace.
Welcome to the How to DAO podcast brought to you by GreenPilled Network. In this episode, we have my good friend Justice, who is making waves with his work on the Quadratic Accelerator. Justice goes beyond merely advancing token economics. He truly supports the whole Web3 and honestly also AI ecosystem. We will explore how he is transforming grants funded projects, guaranteeing sustainable token launches, and the implication this holds for the future of DAOs and Web3 initiatives at large. So stay tuned. Welcome, Justice. Great to have you on.
What's up? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Punkar.
Now it's always great chatting with you and learning what you're doing in the space. So now we have opportunity to also let other people learn from you.
Cool.
So I know you just finished, round one of Quadratic Accelerator. So yeah, I would say like one of the very prominent projects this fall, supported by Polygon. But let's start from the beginning. Like, what is the purpose or what is the Quadratic Accelerator actually about?
I would say that it was partially born out of kind of an inability to do effective DAO grants. Because me and you both came from similar DAOs in the past, and the whole idea of like a shared treasury, and we'll vote on who gets this magic internet money, and then there should be a way in which the upside of that expenditure or the build that comes out of that comes back to the DAO. Like that's the idea. And I found repeatedly that either nothing good came from it, and there wasn't really a way for people to, I guess, as long as you reached a quorum pass, it was like everything was just coming out of the treasury like water. There wasn't like a strong mechanism for exit or, some way to dissent from that. And then if there was something you strongly believed in, you didn't get some unique upside as supporting it. And then even in some projects that were funded, they would go out and build the thing. And if something great came from it, then the rewards didn't come back. And it was like, dude, how is this thing supposed to work? And so like what I came to was like, until you tokenize things and kind of make them economically fractionalized, none of that's possible. And so it brings you full circle to like the challenge of like, how do you tokenize stuff? And so that's when I went crazy down the rabbit hole of like, what's the most effective way to tokenize something? How do we do it now? What has been done in the past? Like, are there economic insights we could draw from and then replicate in a smart contract setting? And so QAC really took its name from, if you're familiar with the movement EAC, the acceleration is a movement. And it was like, since we're using quadratic matching as a part of this tokenization primitive, we're like, let's call it QAC because instead of being shy about, oh, we don't need another token, we're not going to tokenize, we're like, no, we're tokenizing everything. Any crazy idea that someone has, we'll tokenize it. People who support it get unique upside. And people maybe who don't support it, maybe they like short it and bet on it failing. And we kind of economic eyes the whole thing. And so that's the idea.
Nice. So maybe like because some of our listeners are like new to crypto and new to
Hmm.
tokenization, like you said, like let's tokenize everything. What that
Yeah.
actually mean?
Man, that is a deep question. And honestly, it's even hard to answer in a pre blockchain thing. If you go back to like all the way back to a Dutch East India Company, the idea that you could have some ownership in some venture and have a unique upside, like a corporation, stocks in a corporation or whatever. That's really the first tokenization if you go all the way back. And blockchain just kind of enables the same thing, but hopefully in a trustless way where instead of depending upon a cord or a piece of paper that's kind of built into the code itself. And so I don't think we've done a great job of that in crypto. We're still learning and trying, but the idea is the same that you can have some claim on a joint venture, but do it in code, But at the end of the day, most of the time, tokenizing is your claim on it is more mimetic than actually you know, real, because even like, if we talk about like tokenization stocks and bonds, most of them don't give you any governance and most of them don't pay any dividends. So it's like, what exactly do you own? You're like, I don't know. I own the brand. And if people think it's going to go up, my thing goes up. And in crypto, we tried to improve that. We're like, it's governance. And so there's a competition to have more of these, you know, ownership. So then we can vote how things happen. And so, that's kind of the game.
Yeah, but if I understand it correctly, at the end it's more like economical game. It's kind of like connected to like price discovery type of thing. Like if you actually tokenize it, you put it in the market, like then like the project can like discover their like real value, and then you can work with that.
That's a part of it, right? Usually what happens now is when people tokenize in crypto, they say, well, what's the utility of the token? Right now, if you just drop a token and you're like, "Oh, there's no utility. It just represents ownership of the project." That's illegal. That's a by the book of security, right? So you're like, "Okay," but even if it wasn't illegal, we'd wanna do it better than the trad tokenization of the past. And so even if it did, we'd want it to pay dividends at, like, the protocol level. Like, "Oh, if I hold this, somehow I reap additional financial reward or something." Normally, what it looks like now is some kind of governance. And so we try to do it indirectly. But you touched on something. There's the price discovery, and this is a whole thing of like, well, okay, as soon as you fractionalize something, what does it look like for the market to increasingly converge on a value? And for a long time, it landed on price discovery going down. You have a bunch of investors come in, they fund this team. This team builds something. They kind of allude to an airdrop, and then on day one, a lot of people get the token for nothing, and then they're like sell because they know the price is going to go down. And so you have this kind of down and to the right, and then it stops going down for a bit. You're like, okay, I think we've arrived at the natural market value, and hopefully some enlightened views and additional utility reveal themselves, or in a couple of years it just keeps going down. And so, that's what we're trying to figure out, how to do that part better.
So you are saying with QAC, like short for like Quadratic Accelerator, like you are like kind of doing the price discovery as well, but the other way around. So it's like from the bottom and going up to
Yeah.
find the right value.
Yeah. What we do is we say, hey, let's go back and look in history. Were people doing airdrops? Is that how like new quote unquote token economies were launching? It's like, no, no, no. When you look at token economies, like where'd the dollar come from? The dollar was bootstrapped on gold. And originally it was a certificate of redemption for gold, but then eventually the total market cap of these dollar bills were getting like bigger than gold. And so now it's like off the gold standard. It's like its own. And what claimed is it represents, it's kind of like a stock in a nation state. It's stock in the USA. And you're like, well, what's backing that? It's like military and fighter jets. I don't know. But in the same way, like Ethereum was bootstrapped from Bitcoin. You got ETH in ICO with Bitcoin. And so we're trying to abstract and generalize that to say, let's create an on chain mechanism where entirely new token economies can be built up of a previous token that people already believe in, and that there's a way in which it's collateralized by that value, and then eventually there's a strategic way in which it outgrows it, no longer needs that collateral, and we do that with bonding curves. And so that's our approach, and a part of it is price discovery from bottom left to top right in an organic way, which has a big psychological impact on people. When the price is going up and to the right, they're like, yeah, let's go, compared to the other way.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's more appealing to me when I see the chart going
Yes.
up. But like,
Yeah.
when I look on my crypto, kind of portfolio, like it's not always green. Uh but like
Rarely.
maybe what exactly. Well, one thing just to mention, or you said airdrops for the
Mhm.
listeners. Airdrops are basically dropping of the tokens from the protocol to different wallets. And there is different ways how they determine usually what wallets they want to drop it to and the amount and stuff. And I would argue and like tell me if you have different opinion, like it's kind of a little bit like regulatory arbitrage play. Like
Oh,
you need
yeah.
to decentralize very quickly. And what's the
Yeah.
quickest way? Then just like give everyone an owner, like kind of governance rights at some point. But like I see the downside of it as well. And as you said it, like it gets like very much on the top, then it goes straight down. I remember getting some airdrops. I hold it for a day and then it was basically worthless. Um, so like, like you need to act fast and it's kind of it's not sustainable business model, I would say.
Yeah,
But like
yeah, if there were no laws involved, this entire thing would look totally different. But because of the securities laws and registration and needing to do all this, ICC and like America's kind of the leader in this regulation and stuff, and so everyone follows suit. The days of just raising money and selling a token, like those kind of the ICO style initial coin offering, they've fallen out of favor for 6 years or something, just because it's like, how do you do that legally? Like you have to register and all this, and so the method became the airdrop. Like, how do you create a market? And it's kind of effective because so many people got used to these airdrops coming that they would use your product like crazy, in anticipation that they're going to get this big airdrop. And if you could get your percentages right, then maybe it does cost you if you're a fixed supply token, maybe it costs you 20% of the entire supply to do the airdrop. But who cares if you at the end of the day, you're still like $1 billion. Oh, we're only a $500 million. Oh, this bad day. It's like, who cares? You still landed there, it opens up some new legal precedent if you say, well, what if instead of humans selling a token, what if it's like a DeFi primitive where people get the token directly from a smart contract, a Bondi curve, and there's vesting built in? What if you kind of DeFi the whole thing in a new way? And I'm not totally against airdrops. Just I think that we're going to enter into a different era where that's not the only and dominant way to jumpstart an economy because it's costly and there's a reason, people don't dump the token if they had to give something to procure it. And then you have vesting built in. And so as a part of a larger scheme of different tools, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And we are always, I would say, learning from the previous cycles. And we went through the ICO craze, 2017. Then, as you said, due to regulation mostly, like nobody really done ICO. But as what you are saying now, like we kind of went through different hoops and now we are kind of coming back that like the way I still went there maybe not perfectly great, but like it was also good in a sense because people were buying into the project and like they got some commitment to the project and it's more like
Hmm.
long term
Yes.
thing.
Yep.
So like how you think this can actually work in like current regulatory ecosystem? Like, what's the difference from like 2017 I still we need to make it work in 2025?
Partly, I think it's just the window of what's considered plausible or acceptable practice. It's changed. People get used to certain things. And, in Europe, you had the Mika regulation and saying, well, hey, you can kind of do this, but up to certain limits. They're like, okay, that's it. And then you have more people, getting into political power in America who are like more hardcore free market. um, and then I think the tooling in crypto is just getting better to the point where you can kind of put things together and make this far less like trust me bro setup like what has been in the past. And so when you say, hey, there's ways to do this compliant, the atmosphere is becoming more acceptable, and you can do it in a way that's transparent and trustless. I think you package these all together, and you're like, okay, let's come back to something that's a little more balanced and makes sense. And also, the people have felt the pain of the airdrops and seeing it as not just a full panacea. It got kind of old and it is pretty costly. And you have like big names who talking openly that like this is not working, that we want to do something better. And so I think as the industry matures, we're going to get more brave and do this stuff. And partly it's kind of like when you're successful is when they sue you. And then if you can pay the bill, then who cares? You know what I mean? So if you're lucky enough to have to pay, a $20 million fee, good on you. You made it. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Not
just need to,
financial or legal advice.
yeah, this is not legal, but maybe financial. Yeah, like
Yeah.
if you yeah, and that's like then like the big players are like better off all the time because they can just afford pay the legal fees and they know they will be okay. But if I like follow your project well, you actually support mostly like medium even like small type of projects in your like round one of
Oh, yeah,
QA.
yeah. We this was something that was a learning thing, for me, definitely, is, when you reintroduce the idea of, "Hey, let's tokenize these projects early," people's minds are warped. They're like, "What?" You should have seen some people's eyes were like, "Hey, we'll pay and launch the infra and do all this thing to, like, tokenize you," and they were like, "We're not even ready to launch." I'm like, "Who cares? Let's go." No, but they were like, "This is" because the playbook for so many years, for more than a cycle, maybe 2 cycles, has just been you raise if you're a good project, you raise from investors, you build a product, you kind of insinuate the airdrop's coming, you get more users to pump the numbers, then you do the drop. And so this idea of doing this and doing it in like a legally compliant way was just so foreign. But I go back to this that like a ton of top 10 uh, token projects, CoinGecko, whatever, were raised via ICO, and like, why is that? Because there's something there about having skin in the game. It comes back to even like fundamental like DAO psychology that you cannot escape. Skin in the game. So yeah, these projects are super early. The big call to action here is like, do you want to participate in like the direction of the project? Or do you want to be an active participant in the vision and join the adventure? Then, and this is going to be the utility of the token as a start, and then more will come with that, with the roadmap and all that. Then, boom, ICO, let's go.
Yeah, and like I I really like it because the game before this was, as you said, VCs will invest into the project, pump the project up, launch
Yep.
the token, sell their share for
Yeah.
100%
Yep.
uh, you
Yeah.
know, uh profit, and they are gone. They are not supporting the project anymore, and then retail will kind of pay the bill. It's not
Yeah,
fair.
and yeah, it is. It's exploitive, and people just don't know. They're like, "Oh, it's shiny and stuff," and it's like, you do realize, like, it's already 100 million, 200 million market cap token, like, and so these projects through QAC, all of them, like, even after the initial bonding curve launch, all of them sub-$1 million market cap. So it's like, dude, awesome. You see a few you like, join in the movement. But that to me, that's infinitely more exciting to actually influence, like direct contact with the team, direct influence on the roadmap. It's just got some old, fiery, exciting vibes to it.
I think it's super cool. And also I'm big proponent of letting projects to kind of IPO early so
Yeah.
the public can participate and invest
Uh-huh.
into them and support them in a sense.
Yep.
And also, you know, get the value out of it because they get in early. They might be, friends of the friends, or they just really like the vision and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But there are different like projects which are kind of the same, I would say, like
Mm.
have the same vibe, like you can get in
Mhm.
early, but it's more for like meme coins. So you're probably familiar with like Pump the Fun,
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that. Like,
Mhm.
what's the difference there? Maybe like what's the difference between Pump the Fun, which is now earning like millions in fees, and like there are m- projects with market cap like 100 million on like a cool picture.
I think what happened is that people got so tired of this, exploitive token launch pattern that the meme token craze kicked off, and it was exciting because it was complete anarchy, like, you were minting tokens directly. Wasn't an airdrop or whatever, but it wasn't, they were memes, they weren't like, you know, projects building some substantial thing because it's legally questionable, like, how can you do this? And so it's like, "Hey, it's a fair launch, but is it a substantive project? No." And then also, it just used a naked bonding curve without the experience or insight to understand what they kind of the shortcomings of that are. And so I would say what QAC did is it said, hey, the time is perfect. Yes, it does use a bonding curve, but it uses all these protection mechanisms in it that mitigate against, Sybil attacks and bots and earlier actors dumping on people once the token starts taking off, and like real project building stuff, KYC, the whole nine. So there's similarities in that. And I think with greater acceptability of the next ICO 2.0, the Neo ICOs, as my friend Tam likes to call it, it's a good name. We'll see kind of a claw. people losing interest in the meme stuff, you know, because it's like, why would I buy into another dog with hats when I could buy into like a homomorphic, L2 with like KYC team that already has deals and all this cool stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought that the question would be like, why buying a dog with hat if I can buy a dog with mask?
You're like, we have the next Ethereum or Dookie coin. Okay. All right. Maybe I'll put a little on the Dookie coin and more on the next.
It depends on your preferences, like
Yes, of course.
this
And I
is
don't even
free world.
judge.
This is
I
free
don't
world.
even judge. It's like some people like scratch offs and some people like the casino. I like stock market vibes, but all good wherever you fit in and what you like.
Yeah, so I'm buying sometimes meme coins to be fair, especially when I'm bored and I have nothing to do. But
Uh-huh.
I'm also lazy. Like those meme coins, you need to be also selling pretty fast because some of the meme coins like exist for a day. It's like it goes up 1,000% one day, and the next day they're zero value because everyone sold. So like, like if you are going into that market, like be careful. You can probably lose all your money very easy.
It's
Uh,
not my scene. I've never like enjoyed the trading side of things. I like startups, Y Combinator, kind of startup science, token engineering, like this type of economics. Like that's the stuff I like. I would never go to the casino, never got a scratch off. I won't, even if someone gave it to me, because it's a good way to start a bad habit. But I don't have anything against people who like that.
my grandma always buy me scratch off like every Christmas, so I'm expecting
Yeah.
getting one very soon.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I can give you money, but this is like chance to give you more money.
Smart woman.
So yeah, so far we are in like, red numbers, but maybe one day the scratcher will change our life. But I'm with you there. I'm with you. I'm also more like of a builder type of mentality. And you know, and we started, in Bankless DAO, which
Mhm.
I would say was very much builder mentality. Everyone was building
Yep.
different projects.
Mhm.
Like there was, I don't know, 20, maybe 30 projects coming out of Bankless DAO in
Uh-huh.
2022. And
Yeah.
it was great vibe and we were enjoy it. And one of the projects we kind of started together was the book actually, which we are now publishing, brainstorming right there, having as a
Yep.
community, then it evolved. But like,
Yeah.
really appreciate your help there, and we both into DAOs a lot. So how do you
Mhm.
think like DAOs actually change like since the last cycle, since like 2022? Like what's new there? Like one thing I can mention is like Bankless DAO, it's not Bankless DAO anymore. It's a Black Flag DAO, so they rebranded, but it's more like I would say it's not a rule. It's just like one thing which happened within DAO's space. But how you seeing DAOs being used in like 2025 and forward?
Yeah. You know, I've been asked this a few times and thought about how to answer it. And my answer has been like, hey, people burned out on what happened before, it didn't work, this and that. But the thing is, there's always new people coming in. And I started to think I can't discount people maybe coming into DAOs for the first time that get super hype on collective ownership and a large group and want to go big and all that. So that may happen again. I can't say, maybe. But I think the people who did experience that though, learned some lessons. And that is I think Voorhees tweeted this recently. He was like, small monarchy beats large democracy. And it's like, I feel that. You know what I mean? And so I really I think I'm excited to see DAO tooling come into play for people to, build mechanisms or use it for smaller group decision making. But this kind of just unbridled democratic wisdom of the masses stuff, I don't think it produced kind of what people thought it would. Having said that though, like the tooling that we have now is awesome. It's way more mature. Some of this stuff was just a glint in people's eyes. It was super early, and now it's all working together. I think I set up a joke race the other day, like a crypto on-chain competition, and a part of it was, oh, whoever wins automatically give them a hat from Hats Protocol. So it's a competition that results in someone getting some unique privilege access on how to spend money or something. I was like, dude, this is so cool, And so the different splits for treasury management, Aragon, you can import like arbitrary tokens now, so you could even revive old token economies with governance. It's just like the tooling there, and so I, I hope I hope that people start thinking about DAOs more so like programming. In programming, you're gonna say, "This is what we build and why, and here's the philosophy." You're like, "Hey, what do you like? Build that." It's totally wide open what you want to engineer, like a programmer. And in the same way, I'm excited to see maybe if you like that. Maybe less philosophically opinionated about everyone has the same input on everything. It's like, hey, we did that. It was terrible.
Yeah, we try that. Like you should just not consider everyone's view.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
It's just like endless game because
yeah.
everyone likes to fight on their own
Uh-huh.
opinion and harder to submit to something which they even might think it's a better way. But I already said that I don't like it, so I cannot really change my view in public, kind of thing. And
Yep.
it's still a human play. DAOs are human organizations, so I'm
Yeah, yeah.
totally with you. It can get complicated. But also, what you said, I very much vibe with that. Like, it's programs. It
Mhm.
can be small programs, and the programs will be like consisting on AI and couple people, and they will be doing their startup, or it can
Yep.
be larger enterprise grade kind of program where it's more
Yep.
people and it's more
Yep.
distributed. And that's like how DAOs will be in the future. Like there is so many different types, um, which you can basically have, and you should choose based on what
Uh-huh.
you actually need to achieve. So,
Y- the-
question two, yeah, go on.
to be- for that reason, sometimes it's helpful to think about DAOs as more of for me, as like a DevOps technology. Because in DevOps, you don't say, "Oh, well, here's how it has to be done." This, like, well, what are you trying to accomplish? What kind of features are you looking to elevate? Because even maybe you have a large group, but you can use the tooling and the design to create more participatory stuff that's not binding and that doesn't blow the whole thing up off the rails, but it's entertainment and engaging. And so, it's kind of like open ended.
Yeah, you need to have structure in your
Yep.
DAO. Like DAOs are not structureless organizations. Like
Hmm.
they have the mission, they have the goals, and then you create the structure which will help you to achieve it. I'm with you there. Like thinking that DAOs equal, flat organizations. Like that was the vibe, but I don't think that's a good approach to it because we failed many times with that. But
Yeah.
like, so do you consider the projects you just like? I think it was 10 project or something from like the first round of QEG
Hmm.
actually being a DAOs because they launched their own token. So how
I know.
are they DAOs?
No, no. I was when we started this thing, I thought, oh, we'll have it built in so that these tokens automatically, like, we'll have a prescriptive kind of so much goes into a DAO contract or something like this. And some other people were like, oh, hell no. No. If the project wants to do it, they can do it, but we don't have an opinion on this. And this is not going to be built in. So the direction we went with the utility, because if you go in that direction, the default utility of the token is governance. The direction we went is more of a friend tech, where the default utility is access and influence towards the team. And so token gated chat rooms, so like a social token, and the teams can decide what they want to do on top of that. Because I mean, it doesn't always make sense. Like the one project is an L2 and their token is a gas token. So it's like, okay, makes sense. Another of them is doing an AI agent, and or two of them have different types of like AI tools. They use the token, you spend it in order to use the bot, you know? So like, okay, that makes sense. Um, yeah.
So yeah, so basically, if I hear it correctly, the governance it's not something you dictate to the project, but they can
Yep.
choose
Hmm.
to add this utility to
Yep.
their token later on or anytime, basically.
Yeah, and there's cool games they could play based upon the nature of the project. Like they could take a supply of the tokens, import it into like an Aragon contract or even like a Moloch DAO or something, and then say, hey, people can decide on maybe like they can do a token curated registry like a vote on which features they want to see most, and that's how the money flows. Or there's different games that could be set up in that way, and it would still be voting and all, but you just avoid that critical point at which you know the cost to vote is and capture governance is less than what's in the treasury, because it's a whole different game, and then you get like the whole raider situation or people coming in and just trying to
Yeah, basically trick the
yeah.
DAO to give them money from the treasury.
Yeah, 100, yeah, that's it.
And like it happens. So like if you are creating DAO, be careful because like if the value of procuring the power it's less than what you have in the treasury, that's not good place to be.
Yeah,
Uh
and like you don't even have to go into crypto to see that happening. Look at the state of the world right now into liberal democracies and ask yourself, like, okay, what does it cost to get in that position? Okay, it costs, billion, 2 billion. Okay, what kind of checks can you write once you're there? Unlimited blank, and it's like, okay, do the math.
well, that's why we support political candidates or
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's the whole game. And like and this is the same game, especially in the large DAOs as I see it. Like you have
Hmm.
the delegates, they have big power. There is like 5 to 6 people in each DAO that can basically overturn whatever easy. So like there are incentives to some people to like be friends with them or have influence over them and stuff like that. So we definitely have also this kind of political vibe within the DAO ecosystem, especially in the larger DAOs. But I truly admire like you supporting rather the smaller projects at the beginning and maybe in the like pre-DAO phase. They might turn into DAO eventually, but like they can get the token right away. They can get the like financial incentives or like the basically the capital to their project so they can start building. It's super cool. Would you have some advice to people like just getting into crypto? They might be having their project which is Web 2-ish or like Web 2.5 type of thing. They're considering crypto now because they're like, okay, if I can get like little capital and I have kind of crypto native project, like that would be super helpful. So is there like QA round two, something like they can like see or follow?
Heck yeah, there's QA round two, man. We want to run these every 3 months, the next cohort, next cohort. It's gonna be awesome. And so like I would love to see more Web 2 people and small projects come into Web 3 because I feel like a lot of people in Web 3 are kind of just maybe it turns into an echo chamber of like rah marketing, and tokens and NFTs and all this has just becomes like the narrative and the lore is so thick, and the actual utility and the function and the purpose and the motivation for like the fundamentals of what's being built can be lost. And so I'd love to see people who are building projects think about like what is the utility of building in some kind of token economy into this product? How could it work? Like fundamentally, like think deeply on the fundamentals. That's the that's where you go to the bottom of the well and thinking deeply on the fundamentals of how this all could work. So I would love to see that, and we have to move beyond just kind of pure marketing, rah rah, like just buy the token. It's going to be great. We'll all vote on how this thing is going to go. So I I, I like I like projects that have thought a lot about the token sync. Most crypto projects are just thinking about distribution. We're going to give the tokens. We'll pay people to use us. And it's like, you understand, like, you want people to get your token to put it in your system. Like, it's the sink, you know, not the faucet. It can't be all be the faucet, or else it creates a chart that looks like this. Um, and so we have to repeat that a lot.
Yeah, like there were many cool projects which were just like giving tokens away, but so there was like no utility, like a lot of these like move to earn type of
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
like projects, like super cool, raise tons of money, but there was like, yeah, I give you tokens, but that's it. You cannot actually buy in, like, so
It's a
till I have tokens, I will be giving them away, and then I just disappear. So yeah, it's definitely, and I also excited, about Web 2 founders coming into
oh,
Web 3, because like
uh-huh.
I think it's not about being a DAO or like thinking like too much about using blockchain. I think it will become like new normal in a sense. Like there are tools which you can use in crypto which are just make your life easier or better, access to like global financial network, like more sovereignty, stuff like that. You don't have that in Web 2, so building your Web 2 project with some of the crypto rails can be just net beneficial. And
Yep.
where we can make big impact, I think it's education. Like
Hmm.
teach those founders like how they can build in crypto, how they can basically leverage that, not just like this meme structure, but like the tooling itself, like the things we learn over like 3 years. We can now let them know. So do you think like in the same way, like for QAC to actually onboard more like Web 2 founders, like there needs to be some like ramp kind of like, get up to speed with those type of things?
I would love to see that. We weren't able to go in that direction for this first cohort just because it was such a foreign concept, but that's the direction I wanna go. When you see these projects posted on, like, Hacker News, and you're like, "Wow, this is cool," and they're like, "Hey, I'm making, 5,000 a month on this recurring," and it's like some strange to-do list or something, like, "Wow, this is very interesting," but I think, the few of the blockers there are just people that don't seem to think in those terms. It's almost like learning an entirely different design system, or with design patterns and architecture and philosophy. Like, you kind of have to get up to speed on this. And unfortunately, a lot of crypto, the impression is that this is a giant casino for speculation and whatnot. And so I think it takes some time to expose people to those other ways of thinking. And then also, like, some new, programming stuff is coming out where maybe people don't need to program in Solidity. They can use, like, I love Viper. It's like a Pythonic smart contract with safeguards built in. I'm like, dude, it's a whole different thing when you can just say, "Hey, we made this one change, and now we have, like, millions more developers who can build this thing and experiment," you know?
Yeah, definitely. Like get people up to speed and like experiment in the stuff. That's also
Mhm.
the purpose of how to DAO. Like
Yep.
the book we are publishing, and you can pre-order it at howtodao.xyz.
Mhm.
It's set of stories, set of
Uh,
primitives where like people can just get the right mindset, as you said, like the
mhm.
philosophy of crypto that's in there. Some like more technical expertise, like the safeguards, like how to not lose all your money right away. That's like, we touch upon
Not
that.
right away, slowly.
That's better. You can learn more if you like losing the crypto or money in general slowly. Uh and
You're gonna
now
lose it
now
because it's your choice.
exactly. I just like to do it. I like to learn send transaction to the wrong address. And then like, well, oops.
Now you know.
Now I know that
But
I
dude,
should double check.
I love the way you put that, man, because it's getting some situational awareness and exposure to the concepts, the philosophy, and just the ways of thinking about things. Like, why would somebody care about this? Like, how could a open source project be tokenized in such a way? Like, how would that help the project? And how could that help the people who wanted to have ownership of that project? This type of stuff, and I think it's cool you guys did it with different stories and very cool. Kind of a way to accelerate someone's onboarding into crypto besides spending 3 years just grinding in a Discord server. I like this approach better.
Yeah, without paycheck sometimes, just because like we like the vibes. But we done it for you, so you don't need to spend 3 years without paycheck in a Discord server. You can get right into it. And also like we are running the cohort course
Mhm.
as well, like the more practical, and we are now basically like halfway through, and
Mm,
the team already created a DAO and they start learning how to use a DAO. So I see
cool.
like the future where like how to DAO cohort can be kind of combined with QX. Like
Oh,
you
cool.
like you Web2 founders going through this cohort, and if you make it, you will launch in QX after this 5 weeks and earn and build and go from there. Like, what do you think?
I love it so much. I'm looking for the emoji button, but I'm afraid to click any of these buttons. So I'm not used to using this. But I'm looking for the clapping. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Probably it
Dude,
doesn't work in this tool, but like,
I love it, man. Especially if people are coming through the How to DAO QAC and they have some business background of like, okay, we actually need to create more value than we give away. Awesome.
Mhm.
Okay, this is how startups work fundamentally, and then you're like, okay, cool. This is a whole new toolbox of tokenomic economics and voting and exit and ownership and splits and access controls, and then to take that idea with all that new tool set and put it through QAC. Freaking awesome.
yeah, let's do it. So, call to action. If you have some business you want to start, or you already
Ah,
started and you're thinking, hey, maybe crypto is the right way,
yep.
sign up for the next cohort. We are starting in March. That's the
Cool.
education, and there will be probably also QA round. So we
Yep.
will still
Yep.
work the details, but sign up. It's just a form, and then we will let you know if you are eligible to be in QA.
Awesome. So glad you.
Like, I like call to action. If you already have a good
Yep.
chat, let's bring more people in, and yeah, and let have more fun. Honestly, like
Hmm.
building
Yep.
businesses and supporting especially small and medium enterprises. It's
Yep.
something why I'm in crypto. Like, I'm not here to support another unicorn, which is like like two billionaires
Which is
out of it.
already unicorn status.
Like, I'm super happy about those smaller projects, like 5-member team. They each earn good wages and like bringing value to the ecosystem. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And rather than like those casinos, meme coins type of thing, like, and I think we are very aligned on that. uh, is there anything else I might not have asked you would like to mention? I know you are also in AI. That will be probably another 60 minutes. We can talk about AI, but anything else? Fun stories?
Um, I'm not. I'm not sure. I will say this. I have maybe just a word of advice for someone who may be listening to this or whatever. I've seen a lot of people over the past, 3 plus years think that they could come into Web3 and crypto just cold from the outside and launch. And there's so many peculiarities of this ecosystem and this movement. The only way, in my opinion, to do it successfully is to embed yourself, to meet the people and to learn and even do some projects that didn't work out, do some other ones that maybe like turned into something a couple of years later, but didn't seem like it at the time. And to really like become a part of the community, to share your learnings along the way. That's why this How to DAO cohort is so beautiful. So much better than just a book. The book would have been a banging ego pump, right? Awesome. Look at the book. It's freaking beautiful. New year, let's go to bed, it's good. But to have this like recurring educational stuff, it's very cool. So yeah, get involved, get plugged in, try stuff, learn, and be patient with things. So I would say that's a big part of it. Other stuff to get involved in. I mean, just on the AI stuff for that, ultimately, I don't pursue it as a, hey, this is another startup. I'm going to build this. I'm going to build that. But just how do I do my job in content creation and my life better? And if something comes out of that, great. But I'm just trying to have the edge on my day to day using the tooling there. So
Yeah,
some
and you
people
mentioned.
ask me, dude, some people ask me, come on the podcast and tell everything you use. I'm like, I ain't trying to tell the stuff I use. I'm trying to get an edge, not give it away. If people ain't using AI, don't use. Go.
But I think you mentioned it on another podcast actually that you have three permanent tabs open. I think one it's Cloud, one it's ChatGPT, and one it's another AI, but I forgot that one.
Y-
So
yeah.
you gave it
You
away on another podcast. I was listening to it.
listen, it's going even deeper because they just hand delivered the Limitless pendant to me. I couldn't believe it. They literally drove here to Ohio. It was like, you're number 10 owner of this, and it basically listens to you all day, and the AI like organizes it, and like it's to the point where like at the end of the day you can be like, hey, what was that such and such, and it's telling you, and like, hey, last week what was the to do from such and such, and it's on it.
What's that?
Limitless.
Limitless. Is it on chain or is it purely Web 2?
No, 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 it's just Web 2.
Okay. Send me the link and I will put it in the show notes so people can check it out. And like,
Cool.
if people want to learn more about you, and you are also a content creator, doing articles, where they can follow you.
I'm a Singularity Hack on Twitter, and then I like to write on Mirror, and that's operator.mirror.xyz. Pretty sure that's the URL.
Perfect. And I will link it also in the show notes. And on Mirror, you can actually then mint the NFT of the article. So if you are new to crypto or not, you can start using Web3 primitive by reading just these articles. So this was amazing episode. I again learned ton, and I believe you provided so much value to our audience. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks, Bunkar. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you for tuning into How to DAO. If you are excited about the future of DAOs, as we are, don't forget to check our book, How to DAO, available on Amazon. And for those looking for something special, visit howtodao.xyz to grab a limited partner edition version with an NFT that unlocks some very exclusive perks. And if you want to dive even deeper, we just launched our 6-week course on DAOs packed with actionable insight and expert guidance. So get the book, follow us on social media, join our community, and we will guide you through the fascinating world of decentralized autonomous organizations. Until next time, keep building, keep DAOing.